Hey, it's Kristen from the Little Wine Shop, here to talk to you about the 2021 Chalmers Montevecchio Bianco. This wine is a blend of several different Italian grapes: Ribolla Gialla, Valangina, Vermentino, Pecorino, Fiano, Moscato Giallo, and Zolia. That's 7 varieties. This is what we would refer to as a field blend, meaning that this vineyard has several different varieties planted together. Now, these different grapes are grown together, harvested together, and then co-fermented together to make one unique wine. You can think of this as varieties being blended in the field rather than in the winery. Now, what you might not expect from this wine is that it's from Australia. Plantings of Italian grapes began to increase in Australia in the 1970s and 80s. The vast majority of vineyards in Australia are clustered in the southeast corner of the country, where, like Italy, they have a predominantly Mediterranean-like climate, meaning warm, dry summers and cool, wet winters. This wine comes from the Heathcote subregion of Victoria. Now, fun fact about Victoria is that they experienced a gold rush in the 1860s. The Heathcote area is known for producing high-quality wines, thanks to its cooling winds from the ocean that are funneled up through the Mount Carmel ranges. Now, these cooler temperatures help to slow the grape ripening, which allows for a longer time for flavors to develop, and this creates a higher quality fruit. Higher quality fruit equals higher quality wine. Now, there's a couple of other factors that make this wine unique. First, fermentation happens naturally. So nowadays, if you're a winemaker, you can choose to kickstart your fermentation by inoculating your grape juice with a cultured yeast. Or you can choose to let fermentation happen naturally, meaning that you crush the grapes and let the juice just do its thing. This wine was naturally fermented, which means that you get a more unique wine that shouldn't taste like any other wine. The grapes were hand harvested and fermentation took place in neutral stainless steel tanks. After fermentation was complete, the wine was aged with its lees for 5 months. So lees aging is this wine term for the spent yeast sediment that's left over after fermentation. Now, oftentimes, wines are immediately filtered to remove this sediment. However, winemakers may choose to allow the wine to mature with its lees to add more texture and additional flavors that are yogurt or cream cheese-like. This wine is produced by the Chalmers family. They started out as a vine nursery, growing and selling plants, but transitioned into wine production around 30-ish years ago. Second generation sisters Kim and Tennille now run the winery, which has a really strong focus on Italian varieties. The climate of Heathcote dictates the varieties that they grow, because they try to match the best variety for their land, and that happens to be these drought-tolerant Italian grapes. Now, as far as taste goes, this is not your typical simple fruity white. So yes, there's apple and pear aromas and flavors, but beyond the fruit, there are layers of complexity, like nuttiness and herbaceous notes and a briny quality. On a blind taste test, I think I might mistake this for Sauvignon Blanc. The acidity is electric, but it mellows out once your palate acclimates and the finish is nice and long. This is a small production wine. There's only 850 cases produced. It's imported by husband and wife team Jane Lopes and John Ross. Now, both of them are master sommeliers who spent time living and working in Australia. And they are now what I would say the authorities on wine in the land down under. They've co-authored a book together, How to Drink Australian. They live in Nashville. Molly and I recently got to meet Jane and taste through her portfolio of Australian wines, and we were really blown away by the quality of these wines. And honestly, how different they were from our expectation of what Australia had to offer. So we are so excited to share them with you now. Cheers.